Hey everyone, I'm Dan. I'm one of the members of Gentle Robotics. I wanted to do a quick video today to take you through the unboxing experience and the first 48 hours that we spent with the robot. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about why we got the robot in the first place. Like anyone growing up, I have always wanted to own my own robot. When I saw some of the Unitree G1 videos on YouTube, I got really excited. You see videos of this robot doing dance moves, doing martial arts. And when I went to do some research on this robot, what I found was that you could just go and buy it online. There were several different models that you can buy, but I wanted to get one that I can program. So I splurged on the cheapest programmable version, which was about $42,000. It turns out you can just put $42,000 on a credit card and everything is fine. So I placed the order in middle of February. So it took about 6 weeks for the robot to be built in China, packaged, and shipped over to my home in California. There's a funny story here where American Express actually charged my bank account twice. So there was $80,000 being deducted from my bank account. It took a few days to sort things out, but that gave me a minor heart attack. But regardless of that, the robot got here. So I wanted to take you through the video that we recorded on the very first day when the robot arrived. So the robot came in this huge heavy case. It took a while for us to figure out how to actually open this thing. The robot was packed in half and into this case, which is a little bit surprising to me. But hey, it fit. I was touching the robot's feet. I don't know why I was doing that. The battery was the first thing that I took out. It came with the robot. It was actually a very heavy battery pack. Next, I put out the remote. So I'll talk a little bit more about the remote and what you can do to control the robot with that thing. As you can see, the robot was pretty heavy, so it took some effort just to get this thing out of the box. The robot was also wrapped in plastic wrap, like you might expect of other Amazon packages. The robot was about 4 feet tall, which is shorter than I expected. But again, like I mentioned, it's much heavier than it looks. The first thing that I did was lay it down on our couch, and I proceeded to take off the plastic covering from the robot so that we can start testing it. All right, so the next thing we did was put the robot in the chair. We figured that the robot was pretty tired from his travels. So we wanted, him to kind of relax in the chair for a bit. Then we plugged in the battery into the robot and attempted to turn it on. This took a few moments to figure out actually how this works because it wasn't super intuitive. But when the robot turned on for the first time, we were just super excited to see it in action. And you can tell that the robot is on because the arm had a little bit of a damping motion. So it didn't just fall over right when you lifted and dropped the arm. Next thing we did was to try to get the robot to stand up. So I had a friend here help me to make sure that the robot doesn't fall over. So one of the most exciting moments was to just get it to be able to balance on its own. Here, what we're trying to do is get the robot to wave. The robot was kind of falling backwards as it's doing the wave. Later on, we'll figure out there's some settings that we could do so that the robot's able to balance on its own and doesn't need human support. So a lot of these controls are just done through the remote. So if the remote control comes with the robot, and here you can see that the robot is shaking my hand here. So the robot can do some basic actions like walking, shaking hands, waving, but for the most part, it really cannot do too much unless it is programmed to do so. So, if you're buying this robot expecting that it's going to help you clean your room or water your plants, that is not a realistic expectation. And you can see at this point, we decided that, hey, maybe it makes sense for us to actually read the product manual. So we sort of shut down the robot and started to do that instead. One of the things I want to mention is how difficult it was to just get started with programming this robot. First of all, a lot of the open source software out there are in Linux. And so I had to bring out my Linux machine, which I haven't used in many, many years. We spent hours just figuring out the networking stack. This is the ability for us to connect to the robot from our local PC. Our main objective here is to be able to control this robot manually using a VR headset. And I'll talk about this more later on as to why this is important to us and what our objective is, but that is our near-term goal. In order to do that, what we needed was to be able to send manual commands into the robot and have the robot be able to respond with an action. We also had to figure out camera access. So the Unitree G1 has both a depth camera as well as LiDAR. And so we wanted to have access to both. After hours of hacking, we were finally able to get camera access working, as you can see here. We were able to grab an image from the robot's camera and have it displayed on my computer. All right, this is where we're going to end the video tonight. This is my very first long-form video I've ever recorded and uploaded to YouTube. So please comment to let me know how I did. If there is any type of content that you want to see, also leave a comment for us and we will get back to you on those videos. If you want something that's a little bit more technical in nature, if you want to understand how we went about actually programming this robot, let us know. Or if you just want to see the robot do some cool stuff, also leave that in the comments as well. All right, I will leave you here tonight and thank you so much for watching our video. We really appreciate it.